Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Alya Nurul Dwianta and I'm from English Education Class B 2019. Now I'm gonna tell you a little about my resume in subject method of teaching. In the material is a methodical history of language teaching. The first step is toward developing a principled approach to language teaching will be to turn back to the clock about a century in order to learn from the historical cycles and trends that have brought us to the present day. In this chapter, we focus on methods as the identifying characteristics of a century of modern language teaching effort. Edward Anthony, 1963, explained about the meaning of method, approach, and technique. Method was described as an overall plan for systematic presentation of language based upon a selected approach. Approach is a set of assumptions dealing with the nature of language, learning, and teaching. And techniques. Techniques were the specific activities manifested in the classroom that were consistent with a method and therefore were in harmony with an approach as well. Jack Richards and Theodore Rogers, 1982, was explained method was an umbrella term from the specification and interrelation of theory and practice. Approach defines assumptions, beliefs, and theories about the nature of language and language learning. Design specify the relationship of those theories to classroom materials and activities. Procedures is techniques and practice that are derived from one's approach and design. Number 1 is grammar translation method. Classes are taught in the mother tongue with little active use of the target language, and much vocabulary is taught in the form of lists of isolated words. Next, long elaborate explanation of the intricacies of grammar are given. Next, grammar provides the rules of putting words together, and instruction often focuses on the form and inflections of words. Next, little or no attention is given to pronunciation. Next, reading of difficult classical texts begun early. Next, little attention is paid to the content of texts, which are treated as exercise in grammar analysis. The disadvantages of grammar translation method is one can understand why grammar translation remains so popular. It requires few specialized skills on the part of teachers. Tests of grammar rules and of translation are easy to construct and can be objectively scored. Number 2 is Goyen and the series method. His 3-year-old nephew was going through the stage of child language acquisition. Next, the child must hold the secret to learning a language. Next, language learning is primarily a matter of transforming perception into conception. The series method was a method that taught learners directly without translation and conceptually without grammatical rules and explanation, a series of connected sentences that are easy to perceive. Number 3 is the direct method. At the turn of the century, this method became quite widely known and practiced. Second language learning should be more like first language learning. Lots of oral interaction, spontaneous use of the language, no translation between first and second language, little or no analysis of grammatical rules. The disadvantages about the direct method is number 1 is weak theoretical foundation, and The last is it did not take hold in the United States. Okay, number 4 is the audiolingual method. The characteristic of audiolingual method. Number 1 is new material is presented in dialogue form. There is dependence on mimicry, memorization, offset process, and overlearning. Next is structures are sequences by means of constructive analysis taught at one at a time. Next is structural patterns are taught using repetitive drills. Next is there is little or no grammatical explanation. Grammar is taught by inductive analogy rather than deductive explanation. The disadvantages about the audiolingual method is it failed to teach long-term communicative proficiency. Next is cognitive code learning. Cognitive code learning was not so much as a method as it was an approach that emphasized a consequence awareness of rules and their application to second language learning. Okay, I think that's all. I'm sorry if I had some mistaken words. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.